Welcome to Burning Bright, a weekly podcast presenting poetry and prose from Passager. On this slightly longer than usual episode, 3 pieces from the brand new issue 74, the trauma issue. Some of the pieces in this issue are about the results of generations-old trauma, others about the trauma of growing up in dysfunctional families. Tonia Dixon said that the writer Bell Hooks described the dysfunction of love in the black community, saying, "Often children will want to remain with parental caregivers who have hurt them because of their cathected feelings for those adults, usually by denying the abuse and focusing on random acts of care." Tonia said that when she read that, she knew her own silence was broken. Here's her poem, Spoil the Children. She was continually on a witch hunt, looking for proof that we warranted her whip across our bodies. We counted the welts left over from her obeying Scripture, to keep us from wandering, unblemished by pleasures, for missing curfews, discovering kisses, leaving the gate unlatched, or because the towels were left on the clothesline in the rainstorm. These minor infractions did not warrant the burn of bruises, the passing of witch hazel from hand to hand to soothe the physical pain. But the emotional injuries did not stop us from shaking the stick at our own children. We did not use the slavers' tools for insurrection. Instead, belts and broomsticks became our weapons for bringing correction to our children. Fear raised us all instead of affection. Like love made us too soft for the harsh reality of being Southern blacks. So we prepared for the world's injustices at home. Spoil the Children, Tonia Dixon. This is only the second time Passager has published a theme issue. The first was in 2008, with an issue related to the work of Dr. Martin Luther King. And this issue is noteworthy for another reason, too. It's the first time Passager has had a guest editor. Passager's editors were thrilled that Christine Lincoln agreed not only to guest edit, but to bring her editorial vision to this issue. Kelly Madigan said an old friend invited her to a baby shower for her long-dead grandmother, whom she said would not have been given one as an unmarried pregnant woman back then. Kelly said, "This is the poem that came, my gift to Iva." Retroactive Baby Shower for Iva begins with an epigraph from the book A Course in Miracles. Let miracles replace all grievances. The baby of the woman reaches back, herself now grown, and adjusts the lens. We till up the past in cycles, and by turning and turning, something new is lifted up from the mired relation. An attempt to imprison the divine feminine, to own and control her mysterious sexuality, has imprisoned all who pass. The man and woman rooted together in the dark, the newborn passing into light and already engulfed in darkness, the pious poisoned by their own food, choking on the unstoppable desire of creation to live, to be born. Today, as a shower game, we burn the Bibles. We throw open the monastery doors, the convents and homes for the unwed, where these uncontrollable wild women were banished. Iva, your beautiful body did exactly as it was designed to do, rolling in the deep intoxication, growing this marvelous child, and we celebrate. Cast aside any lingering backwards ideas. Your baby is coming. Here are the tiny outfits, the carriage, the pacifier. Here are the diapers, washed and sun-dried, carefully folded. They are whiter than white, unmarked, new, as you are, as you are. Kelly Madigan's poem, Retroactive Baby Shower for Iva. Lynette Partlow Myrick designed the stunning cover image for this issue. I'm holding it up to the microphone so you can see it. She said, "Circles from chats with Chris and Kendra became vellum paper orbs, singed around the edges by a candle's flame, cooled by streaks of glitter glue, signifying the indestructible presence of spirit." Braided copper wire became the border of a larger circle filled with glass teardrops hung from single strands of wire. We're all a little burnt around the edges from life's traumas and pain, watered by our collective tears of radiant light. Diana Fusting said that her poem, My Vagus Nerve Needs a Somatic Butterfly Hug, speaks to her belief that true healing occurs, quote, when we share our brokenness and grief and bear witness to each other's suffering. It's hearing, I have felt the same way, that binds us and reminds us that we are never alone. If I am invited to one more online trauma summit, I may have a nervous breakdown. During this summit, you will receive access to 50-plus leading therapists, scientists, researchers, activists, poets, artists, and visionaries who are at the forefront of this emerging movement. Each of the 9 days will include 4 to 5 new talks which you can listen to free for 48 hours. Or, for $197, you can upgrade for lifetime access to reliving all the shit that life has thrown your way. My body has kept score, calculating the tally and tolls, an emotional spreadsheet of abuse, abandonment, neglect, addiction, misogyny, all without visible bruises or bite marks that might have triggered my own personal summit of protection. So please don't read me another poem or explain how I need to form new neural pathways to peace and acceptance. Please do not make pain science and science painful. Just come sit with me. Hold my hand and let me scream and cry and tell you where and how it hurts. And when I'm finished, you can do the same, and we will sit there together in the sweet puddle of our shared grief, silently recognizing each other in a true emerging movement of collective healing that will taste like honey. Diana Fusting's poem, My Vagus Nerve Needs a Somatic Butterfly Hug. All of the pieces on this edition of Burning Bright were from the brand new Passenger issue 74, the trauma issue. Several of the writers from that issue will be reading their work Sunday, March 26th at 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Zoom. You can get more information about that reading, as well as information about subscribing to or learning more about Passenger and its commitment to writers over 50 at PassengerBooks.com. You can download Burning Bright from Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, and various other podcast apps. For Kendra, Mary, Christine, Roseanne, guest editor Christine Lincoln, and the rest of the Passenger staff, I'm John Shore.